It's Caleb and Jared from Kings of Leon, four-time Grammy winners, a couple of Brits, Juno Awards. The accolades are just endless for you guys as we get into your ninth studio album. Congratulations on all the success.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Um, with all that success, is there trepidation going into a new album? When you start putting together your ninth, you're like, man, how are we going to top it? How are we going to keep the train rolling?
Uh, I mean, yeah, if you allow yourself to do that, I'm sure you can start to overthink it and get in your head. But this one didn't feel like that. There was a lot of excitement from us. We kind of all had like some pretty ambitious goals for ourselves, and I say ambitious. They aren't necessarily the same kind of goals as like you said with awards and
Yeah.
accolades. It was more about us making a record that we were all just stoked about and just diving into the process and really not quitting until we got it to a place that we were all happy.
And how did that process start? I mean, how long did you come together with a bunch of songs that you all had put together individually, or was there a collaborative get together first? Do you have a plan? Like, tell me about the beginning of this particular record. I think I have it here, by the way. It is absolutely amazing. It's a fantastic album. It's just
Wow.
terrific. There's so many great songs on here.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So it kind of depends on the lead up before we decide to make an album, how that gets shaped. Like if we're touring a lot and we're doing a lot of sound checks, sometimes there'll be more musical ideas that come in. And it's a little bit more collaborative. This time we were kind of off the road. And so Caleb really kind of took the wheel on the bulk of everything. And so he would text us and say, like, I got some ideas. And, we would pop over to his house and listen to him. And it kind of started there. And then we took him into a little cottage and a little writing zone that we rented out and kind of grew them from there.
Okay. Let's go back a little bit. Help me understand the beginning of the band. I know you're all family. How soon was it becoming a thing? How early could you tell that we're going to be making music together?
I think we realized we were pretty good after about the sixth album. Kidding.
We knew pretty quickly that we were either going to do this together or we weren't going to do it at all.
Hmm.
So it wasn't, there was kind of I don't know, I guess we were kind of betting on ourselves. Nathan and I actually went to New York and got a record deal. Jared was still in high school. Matthew was still in school in Mississippi. Um, and with the record deal came record label and their suggestions, and they had a kind of a list of all these handsome players and stuff that they wanted to pair us with, and it was like it was going to be the Followill brothers show, and we knew deep down that was never going to happen. And we came home, and when we came home, we pretty much told Jared like, hey, you might want to think about finishing up with school because we're going to get you a bass and we want you to be in the band. And we called Matthew, same kind of thing, like, hey, bro, we only got one shot at this, so get to Nashville and we're gonna do something together. So I don't know how stoked the label was, but then they heard the music and we knew they weren't stoked.
Yeah. They said, is there any way to make the other two more handsome? We
It must
worked
have
on
been a tough spot to be in, though, because you were probably pretty young at the time, and you had this offer in front of you or this opportunity, and you
Yeah,
basically went back and then told them, "We're going to pass. This is how we're going to do it, and that's how we're going to move forward."
yeah. I mean, for us, we were house painters, we were construction workers, we had odd jobs that we didn't necessarily love those jobs, but we didn't hate our lives in those jobs either. So it was like, what's the worst that's going to happen? We keep hanging out with our cousins and painting houses and, living our lives the way that we do. We had never had money growing up, so we didn't know what that would even be like. So yeah, it was one of those things we just bet on ourselves. And, I don't want to sound too arrogant, but the reason we bet on ourselves is because we knew deep down that we weren't going to quit until we succeeded.
Do you remember the moment when you felt like you had made it, like this is going to be a career, we can do this for a living?
Probably very prematurely. Like the first time we went over to the UK and there were 300 people at a venue there for us after playing in the States for like 8 to 20 people. And you thought like, oh my God, this is it. But looking back, you know, playing for 300 people and making $500 a show is not a living. But at that time we were like, this is it, you know, like we can definitely ride this one.
I'll say before that though, when we were living in our mom's house and we had just bought the bass and you know we were rehearsing, we had written some songs, we still didn't even know how to string our own guitars and stuff, but it was very much like Wayne's World. We're in this little neighborhood behind a Hooters, nothing, you know, little bitty house, and not very special, and a limousine pulled up to the front of the house and a man with a suit got out and came into our garage and sat on the couch to listen to us play songs. And so we all kind of looked at each other and we're like, I think this is going to work out. Otherwise, why would people be coming to our house to hear what we're doing?
He said, if you sign with me, you can be playing in front of Hooters.
What advice would you give yourself if you could go back? How many missteps were there along the way, do you think? Or has it been a pretty smooth process for you?
So many learning experiences, so many times. I don't know. I feel like I have moments a lot of times, you know, when you have a family, we have children now, and I'll see my kids go through something that seems like so serious to them. And me being the elder, I know like, oh, you'll get through this. You won't even remember this. This is nothing. So I have a lot of those moments where I look and I go like, oh, that was a big opportunity for us to feel sorry for ourselves and kind of, you know, like I say, overthink things, and everything could have just fallen apart. But we always, you know, we always just kind of were there for each other and believed in ourselves and pushed ourselves. And yeah.
Well, the new music is great. Unfortunately, there is no date here in North Carolina, I think, on this particular tour, but maybe there's a second half that's coming or an extension at some point. So we'd love to have you back here in NC.
Yeah, for sure.
We had to save something for a second leg.
That's right. We're on the list. Love to see you. Hey, guys, thanks so much for the time. The album truly is fantastic, and we're looking forward to seeing you out on the road at some point.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for playing the music.